After a year of negotiations, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is finally an owner at Manchester United. The deal is worth €1.5 billion and means that he now has a 25% stake in the club. But the Glazers remain majority shareholders. So what does 2024 hold for one of England's most iconic teams? Hello there and welcome to Football Now from Doha. Manchester United are one of the world's biggest football clubs. They have millions of fans around the globe and have produced some of the biggest names this sport has ever seen. And 2024 marks the start of a new era. Over 15 years after the Glazer family took control of the club, it was recently announced that Ineos CEO Sir Jim Ratcliffe would be buying a 25% stake in the company. So let's remind ourselves of just how this saga played out and how it finally concluded. After the Glazers officially put the club up for sale in November 2022, there were two heavily interested parties. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, the son of a former Qatari Prime Minister, submitted 5 bids to the Glazers in the hopes of completing a full takeover. Ineos CEO Sir Jim Ratcliffe was also interested in a majority stake, but was ready to keep the Glazers involved. His proposal would have let the current owners keep hold of 30% equity in the company. But negotiations proved tough. Despite Sheikh Jassim's final offer of around €5.5 billion being above the initial market valuation, it did not match what the Glazers themselves felt it was worth. In the end, Sheikh Jassim walked away entirely, and the Glazers have instead opted to look for a minority investment in order to keep control of their assets. Now the purchase is approved by both the Premier League and English FA, Ratcliffe will take control of the sporting operations, including transfers and appointing board members.
I think United is worth every inch, £5.5 to £6 billion. That looks good now, but they obviously feel, the Glazers, that they can make money going forward by keeping a stake in Man United. They'd be stupid to let it go completely. They will feel that with the TV deals as they are, with the onset of the new Champions League format, I think that further down the line they'd expect it to be increased in value even further. So if you look 5, 7, 8 years down the line, maybe that deal won't look so good. So it's best to keep some of it back, to keep some value, even if it means keeping 75% of it. If you let the Ineos come in and they take the sporting control of the club, they make the decisions on the playing side, they're going to be shielding the Glazers from any kind of criticism. So I think that's been quite clever.
Well, in the end, the deal struck with British business tycoon Sir Jim Ratcliffe was for a 25% stake, and it was formally announced at the end of 2023. His company, Ineos Chemicals, already has shares in Ligue 1 side Nice, Formula 1 team Mercedes-Benz and the cycling team formerly known as Team Sky. So what can his investments and fresh perspectives bring to United?
Well, given that only around about 30% of the fan base actually wanted the Ineos bid to prevail, I think it's actually going to be quite difficult for them, because now they're in the door, fans will look more closely at what they did elsewhere. They took over the Team Sky deal in British cycling, and that hasn't gone particularly well. They're not winning the kind of prizes they were winning 10 years ago when Sky were involved. They'll look again at what they've achieved in France with Nice, and again, their achievements there have been extremely modest. That's when you get the heat, and it's going to be how they deal with that heat, because the heat at Nice and the heat with the cycling team is a world of difference from what they're going to experience at a top Premier League club, a top international club like Manchester United.
Well, according to the fans, things have not been well at Old Trafford for some time. After years of domestic domination in the 90s and noughties, it's now been over a decade since they last saw their team lift a Premier League title. But their revolt against the current owners, the Glazer family, long predates this trophyless run. So let's catch up on the history of the Glazers at United and why many supporters want them to sell up entirely.
We were even before they took over, we were against them when we saw the deal that was being proposed. And the reason that we were so against the Glazers taking over was because it was about to plunge us into hundreds of millions of pounds worth of debt. They basically took out a load of loans to buy Manchester United, and they used the club itself as a sort of guarantee against those loans, and it left us with this debt that was still in. You don't expect owners to necessarily be die-hard Manchester United fans, but you want them to have the best interests of the club at heart, and I don't think the Glazers ever did that. Plus the fact as well, they had no clue on how to run a football club, any understanding of football whatsoever, and that's shown over the last 18 years. They got away with it for a little bit because of Sir Alex Ferguson and his genius, but ever since Fergie retired, it's been pretty much one disaster after another.
Well, it's not just financial mismanagement that Ratcliffe will have to address now he's involved at United. The facilities around the club have not been updated in some time. Once thought of as the best in the country, their home stadium, Old Trafford, now looks outdated, with a leaky roof and no major upgrades since 2006. Meanwhile, other clubs now have world-class facilities of their own, catapulting them to success on the pitch ahead of United.
Yeah, I think Old Trafford is kind of living up to its name of being Old Trafford at the moment. It seems a bit decrepit and falling down, and when you compare that to lots of the newer stadiums being built, especially look at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and what they've done there, and you sit in Old Trafford and watch matches and you could get the rain coming in on you even if you're sitting under the roof because it's leaking. And I think money needs to be spent to turn that into the ground that we all know and love and remember that it used to be the theatre of dreams, because it doesn't seem to be that at all. It's more a theatre of nightmares for fans.
An interesting 2024 on the way then for Manchester United as a new era at Old Trafford begins. Do let us know your thoughts using the hashtag FootballNowRatcliffe, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.